This isn't just another podcast. It's a movement, a global wave of women from Nairobi to Nashville, Seoul to Sao Paulo, stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Women who are ready to be seen, to be heard, to be unmuted. I'm Anjuli Marshall, an award-winning ABC and NBC journalist and speaker, turned business strategist, coach, and mom. My mission? To amplify the voices of women who were never meant to stay silent. One woman, one voice, one story at a time. So go ahead, put on your comfy pants, grab a coffee, and maybe the remote. Are you ready to press the button? Unmuted starts right now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Unmuted. I'm your host, Anjuli Marshall, and this is where we amplify the voices of women who are reshaping what healing and leadership look like in the world. And I'm so excited for my guest today to be here because I believe that this is a story that so many moms out there will be able to relate to. Her name is Tej Kalianda. And Tej is a children's book author. She's on a mission to preserve and celebrate her Indian heritage through storytelling. What began as a heartfelt project for her own kids, just so they could see themselves reflected in the stories that they read daily, well, that quickly blossomed into something so much bigger. With 2 self-published books now in print, Tej's beautifully crafted stories have captured the hearts of her friends, her family, and I would say also her children, and as well as a growing community who are eager to share these cultural gems with their own children. And so I'm so excited to bring Tej onto the show today. Tej, welcome to Unmuted.
Thank you, Anjali. I'm honored to be here. You are an inspiration. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I think that you are the inspiration here because I just speaking with you before the show and learning more about your story. I love how you love your children so much that you want to share something so deeply personal to you. So tell people at home how this story began, this journey. Take us on this journey and why you have decided to become a children's book author.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for that. All right. So I've been working in the tech industry for a long time now, almost 15 years. I'm originally from India. I grew up in India and I moved to the US around 8 years ago. And I had my kids around 4 to 5 years ago. So being here in the Silicon Valley, for all these years, a lot of times I reflect back on my life in India, what I grew up around and how things are here, the differences, the similarities. And after I had kids, I think I started to see all of this in a very different light because I had something to compare with. Like I always look at something and I say, oh, like when I grew up, I did X, Y, Z, but now things are different. Whereas for my kids, they don't have that comparison because they're born here, they grew up here.
Right.
And this started to reflect in like the foods we eat, the landscape that I speak of. Like I tell my kids stories about how I went to school, the things that I saw on my way to school, or the what I had for breakfast. For them, it's just stories. It's not something that they could relate to, or it felt to me like it was very abstract, and I wanted to put something in front of them and say, hey, like this is what it was like. And so that's one part of it. Second is that they love books. Both my kids love reading books. We have books from all over the world. And I noticed that none of these books had a reflection of where I come from. And I'm not talking about language. Like I didn't want to get into teaching them the language that I speak, but was more of just a reflection of just in stories that they read, right? Like everyday things that the characters in these books did. Like, for example, even just say, like, take, for example, A to Z. So instead of A for apple, what if they knew A for a food from where I come from? So, for example, in one of my books, I have A for akki roti, which is a very common breakfast food that we eat. So that's where like this idea came from, and I said, I just want something that they can see on the bookshelf, and know that their stories, their voice also belongs on the bookshelf with everybody else's. That's how I
Absolutely.
started on this journey. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is so important for us as human beings, right? To see others who look like us, who represent our culture. It's important to see that because we never want that to go away because it hasn't gone away. We're still here. And so
Yes.
I can only imagine the burning desire that you felt as a mom to not just allow your children to be educated in so many wonderful cultures, but then also to see themselves. What did you notice, if anything, in your children once they started to see more through your books of their own culture, foods that they didn't know about, but it's a part of their culture, and other things as well? Did you see a change in them?
That's such a good question. So before they even saw my books, I noticed that they were very drawn to Atinuke's books. So Atinuke is a Nigerian author, illustrator, and she writes English books, English children's books, but drawing inspiration from her background in Nigeria. So my older one was very drawn to her books, and I thought, this is maybe because the characters in her books look different. The stories are slightly different. You don't have the story of a kid getting ice cream from a mall. You'd have a story of a kid chasing a chicken out in the fields, for example. So I thought maybe he's just picking up on the slightly, like the different stories and the different visuals, and that's why he's drawn to her. I didn't think too much of it at that time. I was just overwhelmed having a job, being a first-time mom. I didn't think at all of writing a book at that point. The second kid comes along, and the second kid is also drawn to the same author, Atinuke, and I'm like, there's something in here. Right. So that's when I, started to like dig into this a little more, and I thought, I'm a designer by trade. That's what I do. That's my day job. So I thought, what if I just design something like a one or two pages, drawing inspiration from Atinuke, but representing my culture instead. And I thought, I'm just going to design 2 pages, print it at home in my printer, put it in front of them, and see what happens. Okay. And so that's what I did. I just printed a few pages, and my older one. So we have this. There's this breakfast food that we eat. It's called dosa, and we would tell him this is like a pancake, but it's savory, and we'd say it's a savory, fluffy pancake. But now I printed like D for dosa, and I put it in front of him. And then what I noticed was, so he didn't refer to it as a fluffy pancake, but he's like, it's dosa. Like dosa is dosa. You don't have to reference it with, So the difference is that they just use the word as it is without trying to, use like a more Western-centric reference point. And that was really, I think that was very powerful. Like I saw that shift. And the reason I'm saying this also is because these words, now I'm talking specifically about foods, but these words don't have English alternatives. Like dosa is dosa. It's not that it has an English name and I'm using the local name. It's not that's what it's called. Yeah. And then even with fruits, for example, like guava. I mean, guava is guava. It's just not a very commonly found fruit here, but we find it in the Indian grocery stores. We buy it, we have it at home. And the first time, my older one, when he saw that, he asked me what it was. I told him it's a guava. He's like, what is a guava? And then he kept trying to, again, find like a reference point to what he was familiar with.
Mhm.
And now he doesn't. I mean, he calls a guava. Like, he doesn't say, oh, it's like, I think he said it was like a green peach, but with a hard skin. I'm like, you don't have to. You don't have to say that.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow. That is powerful when you realized the importance of your words and your ability to present. I'm sure they didn't understand, oh, this is my culture. No, it was just a book that, oh, this is familiar to me.
Exactly.
And now, so you had mentioned before that, well, before I get to that, so you presented this to your children, you just printed these pages.
Correct.
And then you started to see, oh, wow, there's something to this. There's something more. And so at what point, what did you do next? Did you realize, okay, I have to write a book? Because that's a bold decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really inspired by Atine. Okay, I was like, okay, if somebody else has done it and she's so big and she has a good audience, I'm just going to take the plunge. I'm just going to do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to write a book.
Yep.
And I think at that point, I was like, okay, I've been in tech for 15 years. Like, it's about time, like if I want to do something,
Yep.
I'm not waiting. Like, I'm not waiting for permission. I'm not waiting for somebody to say, well yeah, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. So I actually went to a book writing workshop. A coworker of mine actually was running a book writing workshop. So I went to that. And then I saw, she walked us through the whole process, from start to finish. She put together this amazing resource list of all the printers to go to and their prices, and all the logistics was, somebody did all that for me, like pretty much, right? She did this, she shared this with the group. And I was like, this looks really simple. It's not as hard as I thought it would be. It's also not as expensive as I thought it would be. Because I thought like I'd need a few thousand, many thousands of dollars. But I said, I can start small. It's not that expensive. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway coming out of that workshop was 30 minutes a day is more than enough. 30 minutes a day for 1 month, 2 months is more than enough.
So true.
Yeah, like when you're intentional about what you do with your time, you don't need a lot of it.
And you know that firsthand as a mom too, right? You
exactly.
have to make most of your time.
Yeah. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. And while I can illustrate, since that's part of my job, it takes up a lot of my time. As I found an amazing illustrator partner to work with. So, and at this point, I was also thinking, if I'm going to do this about representing my culture and heritage, I also want to empower people from India, give them a chance to shine, give them a chance to showcase their talents. So, so I tapped my network back in India. I found someone who really wanted to do this, and she's really good. She's an amazing illustrator. So we just started. We literally just started through text messages. Like, I would send some rough sketches. She translated. And I did a lot of brainstorming with my mom. And through this process, I also learned so much about my own culture and my own heritage, which now in hindsight, almost 40 years later, I realize even I was always trying to fit into what was mainstream. And I'm like, now I'm at this point where I'm like, well, I did not have to do that. And I definitely don't want my kids feeling like they need to do that.
Right.
So so it just started. We just started exchanging text messages in about, I would say, I don't even think we took 30 days. So my first book was A to Z of foods that are commonly eaten, from the place where I come from. So that's 26 letters, right? We did one letter each day, and then we spent, I think, 2 days for the cover page, and in 30 days we were done. And I was so encouraged by how little this really took, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, we would go ahead.
I was going to say that's impressive. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I loved how this brought me closer to my own culture, to people whom I hadn't really spoken to. You know, my
Mm,
mom was like, "You should talk to your auntie. She knows." Because when we were going through the illustrations, I was like, "I want to make sure this is captured accurately." And then my mom would share this with my aunt, and then my aunt would critique this, and I was like, this is so much fun. And the other part to this was, you know, I realized work does not need to take you away. So I didn't think of this as work, first of all, but even if this was work, this doesn't need to take you away from your family, away from your kids. Because for me, that was one thing I was mostly worried about. I said, I'm already spending 8 to 10 hours doing my day job. I don't want to add something else that takes me away from my kids.
yep.
That's the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But through this, I found that it actually brought me closer to my family and to my kids as well, because I would do these sketches together with them. You know, when we're sitting in the playroom, like I do a lot of these sketching. Most of them couldn't be used because, you know, they'd come and throw some paint on it or do something.
Yeah.
but but it was fun to do, and it gave me that, you know, it encouraged me because it wasn't taking me away from them. So I didn't feel like I needed to time box it to 30 minutes and just, you know, close and get done with it, because it's just bringing us closer instead of isolating us.
Wow. This is so beautiful, Tej. And I would imagine that little Tej is probably very grateful for what you're doing right now. Have you found that you're sort of uncovering or revealing some things about your culture that you hadn't noticed or thought about in decades, maybe?
For sure, 100%. I think I'm seeing everything with fresh eyes through the eyes of my kids,
Right.
and they're seeing everything for the first time. And so for me, it's like a second, you know, like a second chance to look at everything for the first time. It has definitely uncovered so much that, so when I read these books, for me, I insert my own stories into it, right? Again, taking the example of my food book, when I'm talking about like D for dosa, now I'm telling stories about, remember stories about my childhood experience with that food, who made that, where we ate that, during what festivals. And then I learned about all these festivals, which I, you know, stopped celebrating decades ago. But now I'm like, wow, the significance of this food, with, you know, why it's important in the culture, during what seasons we eat that. And my mom would tell me all these stories. So now it's that's actually my third book is about festivals now, because through this book, you know, I discovered that so much of food is, I mean, it's more than just what we eat, of course. Yeah, so it's about like the land and the seasons and the celebrations and
Mhm.
family and gatherings. And yeah, so I found a lot of topics that came out of this. So I'm writing, yeah, the next book is about festivals. And I'm also going to be writing another one about family members. So,
Mm,
like, we don't traditionally, like, we don't say auntie, uncle, grandma, or grandpa. Like, we have, you know, like different words for it. So I'm making another one that talks about like all these the names, what we call different people in the family. But yes, I didn't know this growing up. When growing up, I'd call auntie auntie. Though I knew there's another word for it, but I guess I was just trying to fit in that mold, you know?
that moment when we all realize, I don't fit into this mold. I don't
Yes.
fit. I'm tired of trying to fit. I don't want to fit. My story is unique. My story is beautiful. I am so grateful that you don't fit into that mold,
Yes.
because that mold is meant to hold you back. And
Mm-hmm.
imagine what if you'd stayed there, your children would never have seen mommy blossom the way that she has.
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful. So I'm so grateful for that. So a lot of moms feel caught between the tension of I need to preserve my culture and I kind of want to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you, on a daily basis, how have you navigated that tension, and how have you helped your children to navigate that tension? Because um, I'm assuming in school, and there's so many cultures around all of our children, right? And
Yeah,
you still want them to appreciate who they are and never hide or shrink.
correct.
How do you navigate that tension?
Yeah. One, I think I'm very fortunate that we live in the Bay Area. So, I believe the friction is a little lower here. There's people from all different backgrounds. Two, that is actually the reason why I didn't want to get into teaching language. I said, let me start with what they're familiar with
Okay.
and show little nuggets of my culture. So what I mean by that is I didn't want to go with, so like the guava example, there is a word for guava in my native language, but I
Right.
didn't want to get in that because we all call guava. That's more, that's more commonly used. And that's what, like, when they go to school and when he sees a guava, he's going to call it a guava, right? So that's the balance that I took specifically, like getting into very technical details, is that if there's an English word for that, whatever I'm talking about, we're going to use the English word. If there's no English word, we're not going to say like a pancake or,
Sure.
yeah.
You're going to tell
So,
it what it is.
yes. But yes, that was actually why I didn't want to get into the whole like language piece. I mean, that's a whole separate,
That's smart.
it's hard. It's hard. It's very different. And it gets into that nuance of how do you, like, what is too much, what is not, like, do they, it's, for us, it's easier because we're older adults, like we know how to balance that. But I didn't want the kids feeling different, you know.
Absolutely. I can
Yeah,
understand that. Or ostracized, or
exactly.
yes, I can definitely understand that. What would you say to a mom, Tej, who feels the pull to share her culture but doesn't really understand, like, um I don't, like, if they say I don't really know where to start. I don't know how to start or where to start, but I want my children to see themselves in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Say to them.
I think we all have really valuable stories to share. Because I'm saying this, I'm quoting what I learned in that workshop. I was also worried that, do I have enough to share? Like, does this even, like, does this count? Does anyone care? And the biggest takeaway from that was there's never going to be too much stories or enough of stories in the world. We
Yeah,
all have very powerful, valuable stories to share. And it's not a finite, well that we're filling into. It's every story is powerful. So I would say lean into what only you can say and just say it.
that's
There's,
great.
yeah, there's
Lean into your
plenty.
personal story.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's great advice. What has surprised you the most in this process of writing these books and discovering yourself and discovering your children, and discovering your culture through the eyes of your children? What has been the biggest surprise for you so far?
The biggest surprise is me rediscovering myself, I'd say. I did not see this as a byproduct of this process,
Mm,
but it's helped me show up more authentically at work. And just, I'd say also it's helped me not try to hide or not try to be very proud of where I'm from, bring my perspectives in a lot more, with a lot more conviction. So it's made me a lot more proud of my heritage and my background, and that was not on the cards. I didn't foresee that happening.
You didn't.
Yeah.
I think it was always there. And it's so interesting that learning who we are tends to be a byproduct of this is your way of serving your children.
Exactly.
And I have been so overwhelmed with the wonderful things that have come out of just serving, just
Mm-hmm.
serving my
Mm-hmm.
children, serving my community, serving my husband, and sometimes serving myself, taking good care of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about, because you mentioned a word that I just can't let go. You said, this is my legacy. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
was there a point when you realized, oh, wow, I'm leaving behind a legacy with these books? Did you ever
Mm-hmm.
realize that?
That's the goal. I want to leave behind a legacy, and I'm proud of having this physical artifact as a legacy to leave behind. Have I realized that? Maybe I'm in the process of realizing it. And I think the moment I realized I want to do this is I realized that my career is something that that if I stop working today, there's nothing from that I can take for my kids, and that's where I spend 8 to 10 hours of my day, right? And this little thing that I spend 30 minutes a day, it's mine. It belongs to me. It's not going anywhere. That's when I realized, wow, this is mine to stay forever.
Yeah,
That's when it started to take the shape of a legacy that's being formed.
that's beautiful. Tej, thank you for sharing your legacy with us.
Of course, thank you for giving me the platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been such an amazing journey, just this podcast, and it's expanding into so much more with the magazine and all of the things that we're doing. But it doesn't ever shift from the purpose of sharing our stories and the importance of sharing our stories, because at the end of the day, that is our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we have to leave behind for our children, for our community, for our friends. And I love what you said. This position, this job that I have, yes, it is providing and it's doing amazing things. That's great.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, this one thing that I am dedicating 30 minutes a day to, the intentionality behind that
Yeah.
is doing so much for my family.
Exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
what blessing that is. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for you. All right. So before we delve into this for another 20 minutes, because I could talk with you forever about this and about legacy,
Mm-hmm.
I want to transition to something really fun. It's called Hot Mic. I told you we were going to play a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the game is called Hot Mic, and
Okay.
Hot Mic is 15 fun, strategic, and totally random questions,
Okay.
rapid fire questions. And the only rule here, Tej, is that you have to answer off the top of your head. There's no thinking. You just say what comes to mind.
Love it.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Number one, what's a ritual from your culture that you cherish the most?
Eating oranges on a sunny day.
Outside or inside?
Outside, under a tree, under the shade of a tree.
That sounds wonderful. Self-care habit that you never skip.
Sleep in on the weekends.
Oh, yes. Love that. Does everybody sleep in or is it just mommy?
I actually don't know if the others sleep in. I just sleep in.
I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
I sleep in. Okay, favorite scent or spice from your childhood?
Oh, pepper.
Pepper, like black pepper?
Black pepper.
Ooh, wonderful. A comfort dish that you make when you just need grounding.
Hmm. Why is this so hard? Because it changes so much.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just oatmeal. Sometimes it's cereal. I'm just thinking of things that I can whip up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. That's
yeah.
great. An unexpected source of inspiration.
Taking a walk. Just take a walk around the block.
You can never beat a good walk.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. A book that you recommend for self-nourishment.
Well, I'm reading only children's books right now. So I'd just say any of Atinoke's books.
That's wonderful. A color that represents your current season of life.
Orange.
Orange. These are the oranges that you were eating under the tree.
That,
That's so
oh my
beautiful.
God, yes.
You didn't even
I
realize.
didn't even know.
That's beautiful. I love that. A go-to playlist for a mindset shift
I
or a
don't
song.
really. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I actually just tune into any TED Talks. I know that's probably
I love TED Talks.
okay.
Is there a TED Talk in your future?
Right now, I'm listening to Hans Rosling. So yeah, he's into data visualizations and stuff. It's very different from books, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Your quote or mantra that you lean on.
Just do it.
Just do it. Most meaningful gift you've given to yourself.
Oh, to myself. I giving myself permission. And what I mean by that is I realized that I was my own blocker for many things, as self-doubt, right? So the most meaningful gift is just throw that out the window.
Well done. A place that you dream of visiting for a personal pilgrimage.
Oh, Scotland.
Love that. Okay. A small change that has created big results,
30 minutes of focus time a day.
right? What is a wellness myth that you love to bust?
Wellness myth. Uh, I don't know if any is a myth actually. I'm trying to think. Everything. I haven't found a myth.
I was trying to think of one, a wellness myth. I can think of a business myth. Hustle, 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 hard hustling.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not true. A wellness myth. I think we should think about that one.
Yeah.
If your story were a film, what would the title be?
Oh, not my book. Sorry, my life story. You mean?
If your story were a film, what would the title be?
Okay. Okay. Thoughtful by design.
Wow, that's beautiful. One line that you wish every woman could hear today.
So many. Okay. Trying to pick the best one.
Don't
Don't
think.
wait. Yeah, don't wait until something's perfect. If something lights you up, even just a little bit, just follow it. Follow the light.
Follow the light. I think that's the name of your film too.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say Under the Orange Tree.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Let's use that.
The orange tree. I just thought, oh, that's how I see her.
Yeah.
Under the orange tree. That's her happy place. That's beautiful. Tej, this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your honesty and for your vision, for sharing your legacy with us. And now it will live on regardless of anything else. I mean, it's going to live on regardless anyway, because your children carry that with them. So thank you for being who you are and sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And so if this episode resonated with you, I don't know how it could not resonate with you. We all have a story to tell. And Tej has taken a step, many steps, one after the other, to tell her personal story. She's unmuted herself, and that's really cool. And so if this story has meant something to you, share it, like it. And Tej, also tell people at home how they can follow you and friend you and help support you.
Oh, that's a good question. For now, I think my only social media platform that's out there is LinkedIn, but I will have a website for my books up very soon.
Good. Very good. So we'll stay in touch with you through LinkedIn, and then we'll follow the journey. We'll follow the journey.
Sure. Yeah,
And now, Tej,
thank
you are
you.
officially part of the Unmuted family. So welcome.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you, dear friend. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And thank you for watching another episode of Unmuted. We can't wait to bring you even more voices from women who have decided enough is enough. We're unmuting ourselves and we're telling our stories. Tej, thank you again. And thank you for watching.
you.
And we'll see you next time. What you just heard wasn't just a story. It was a spark, a glimpse into the heart of a woman living her purpose, and a reminder that when one woman shares, another woman wakes up to what's possible. These aren't just conversations, they're catalysts. I'm your host, Anjali Marshall, and this is the Unmuted Podcast, where voices rise, stories connect, and purpose finds its volume. Until next time, friends, stay unmuted.